Hi, this is John from BetterDoneYourself.com. Today I want to make some beef broth. This is actually the recipe out of the Whole30 cookbook, so this is a completely Whole30 compliant beef broth. But the ingredients you're going to need are beef bones, about 4 pounds, a handful of carrots, 4 leeks. The recipe calls for onions. I like to use leeks. It's a little bit more of a traditional recipe. A head of celery, a bunch of fresh parsley. Just use the stem. Save the leaves for something else. If you put the leaves in, they'll make your soup turn a little bit green. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 20 peppercorns, and a teaspoon of salt. As you're looking at these ingredients and comparing the recipe in the book, I'm actually making a double recipe. When I do something like this, I work in volume. It's, conservation of energy. I like to, if I'm going to make something, then I'm going to make a lot of it. So here we go. First step is that I like to roast the bones. I think it actually is more of an Asian method of bone broth making. The book doesn't call for roasting the bones. They said you just put the bones in the water. I actually went back and looked at my 1970s version of the New York Times cookbook. Craig Claiborne didn't roast his bones. Talked to a couple of people and realized that it's a Asian method of broth making. It really gives the soup a nicer flavor, I think. It really, brings out a nice savoriness, brings out a nice meaty flavor in the bone. I think the raw boiled meat broths don't really have the depth of flavor that I'm looking for in my broth.
To prep the vegetables for the soup, you really just need to cut them into smaller pieces and give them a good rinse. Trim off the dirty parts, rotten parts. None of this stuff is going to be in the broth. I mean, the nutrients will be in the broth, but the vegetables themselves won't. So we'll just get this in the sink and give it a rinse real quick. For the leeks, you just want to split them. Make sure there's no sand in them. These are really clean. These are nice. I think I might cut these down a little bit too. These are a little big, a little unwieldy in my pot. There we go. That's about what I want to see. After about half an hour, you can pull it and flip everything over just to get a nice brown on both sides. At 450 degrees, you really don't want to cook it too long. You're not trying to dry it out. You're not trying to cook it through. I'm really just going for a brown on all the outside surfaces. Gives the final product a richer taste than just kind of boiled meat. Gives it more of a cooked flavor. All right, that looks good. Let's get this back in the oven. Once you've got a good brown on all your bones, you can load up your stock pot. Here you can see our vegetables we just finished cutting up. That, salt and pepper, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, don't forget our parsley stems, and water. Quick thought about water. I live way back in the woods and we have our own private well, so I know this is nice, clean, pure water. If you live in town and you're on the municipal water system and they've got chloramine and chlorine and fluoride and who knows what else in your water, you really want to think about doing this with bottled water. When you buy the meat, buy a couple gallons of spring water at the supermarket. Look for a big jug of it. You can get a big 2.5 gallon jug. Because as this stock simmers and boils down, you're reducing the volume of the liquid and you're concentrating all of that water. So any off flavors or bad tastes in the water are going to be concentrated in the final product, in the stock. So you really want to make sure that you've got a good source of nice clean water to use as the main ingredient in your stock is the water. I used a couple pounds of bones, but I've probably got a gallon of water in here. This is ready for the stove. Alright, here we go. Pot's been on the stove for about an hour now. I've got it on high heat and you can see there's a small foam starting to form. I'm getting little bubbles starting to break. I'm going to turn the heat down now. I don't want this to boil. I'll say it again, do not boil your stock. You will get bitter tastes, you'll get bad flavors, you'll drive out flavors in these ingredients that you don't want in your bone broth. So this is as hot as this ever should get, and we're going to be diligent about this all afternoon watching this pot, that it doesn't get any hotter than this. Just a nice simple simmer, not any hotter than this, just low and slow. You're cooking proteins here, you're cooking lots of aromatics. We don't want to drive out the bitter flavors. Leave the bitter flavors in the bones, leave the bitter flavors in the vegetables, and just a nice slow simmer all afternoon. Just like this, 8 hours. See you tonight. Alright, it's been 8 hours that we've been simmering, and you can see that the level has gone down significantly. Probably about 4 inches down the pot. And but I think 8 hours is probably long enough to simmer this. I think we've gotten everything we're going to get. If you want, you can leave it overnight if you feel like getting up every couple hours and checking it. Maybe put it in your stock pot for the night. I'm just going to strain it and be done with it. Okay, this is my strainer setup. Basically, I've got a 6-quart Lexan and chinoise, which is basically just a colander. You can use a bowl in a colander, or maybe if you like a finer strain, you can line a colander with a dish towel, but I'm just using a standard stainless steel colander or a china hat and a 6-quart bucket here. And we're going to pour the soup in here and strain out the bones and the leftover vegetables. This I'm going to put in the fridge downstairs that I use exclusively for chilling things like this. There's nothing in the fridge that this is going to heat up. Don't put this in your refrigerator. There's 100 and something degrees water. It's going to heat up everything in your refrigerator. You'll be upset in the morning. Put this someplace where you can chill it quickly. If you want, you can take a big bucket of ice and submerge this into the ice water and chill it quickly and then put it in your refrigerator. But you need to get this cold fast. This is potentially going to be not food safe real quickly, so chill this as quickly as you can, a cooler full of ice, and then put this down into it and cool it as quick as you can. Don't try to skim this fat off right now. You're going to get more of this is going to come to the top, but we'll chill this and we'll look at it in the morning. Okay, here, our stock's been chilling overnight. Here you can see the fat that was rising to the top. I broke it on the way out of the fridge. It's not very thick. There wasn't really that much fat. So we can take this up. I'm going to save this. This is great this is pure beef tallow. And this is great for just melting a little bit and sauteing some vegetables in instead of for a change for coconut oil. So this is well worth saving. And these little bits you can take out or leave in, doesn't matter. The rest of this, a nice thing to do is just freeze it into smaller containers. If you've got some smaller screw top containers or some little, maybe some Gladware boxes. Something that I found that's real nice is these silicone ice cube trays. They make each one of these is 2 ounces, so you can pour your stock into these, freeze them. If you like, you can stack them once they're full of stock, but I like to just lay them out on a sheet pan, fill them up with stock, freeze them, and then take all the 2-ounce beef cubes or broth cubes and store them in a Ziploc bag so I can just have a quick shot of beef broth when I want it. You can see, this is real time, you can see the gelatin that's formed, that it's kind of a thick, it's viscous texture to the broth. That's a good thing. That means that your simmering yesterday worked, that you've gotten a lot of the collagen out of the bones and it's now in the broth, and that's super healthy for you. Of course, you can do this with regular ice cube trays. I've got a link to these silicone ones down below if you want to pick yourself up a set. I'm pretty sure they're sold individually and you can buy as many as you want. But you can see that I've got basically 2 quarts of broth here and a little bit of a snack for when this video's over.
Alright, here they are. They've been freezing overnight and they are definitely hard as rocks. I'll just pop these out of the ice cube trays and put them in a zip top bag and put them back in the freezer. The nice thing about these silicone ice cube trays is that they're really slippery. The silicone doesn't hold to the broth at all as I'm trying to pop these out. They come out super easy and I can just break them apart and put them in a bag and have 2 ounces of beef broth anytime I need it for a recipe, or microwave a couple of these and have a quick snack and a hot cup of broth. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.